Shalom, shalom family. Again, this is Malika. Today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of my sisters are suffering from, and that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. And I have in front of me here some herbs that I always talk about, that I'm going to explain. I'm going to go down the line and explain what these herbs are and the benefits of these herbs. I'm going to try and make this video very quick.
Okay, so can you start off by explaining to us what exactly is PCOS and maybe some of the symptoms?
Okay, PCOS is an illness that affects a lot of our sisters, okay? And what caused PCOS? Well, there are many different causes of PCOS. One of the major causes of PCOS is synthetic hormones that are in the body, okay? I always say only a small percentage of illness comes from the environment. Most of it comes from what you are eating. PCOS can happen when you eat food or you take medication, birth control that has synthetic hormones in them. And what happens is when you're eating food with, unfortunately processed food, a lot of the chemicals that comes from the food, birth control, as I said, and different medication with synthetic hormones, the liver has a hard time breaking down these hormones, these toxins in the body. And what happens is they have nowhere else to go in the body, right? They have to go somewhere, but they have nowhere else to go since the liver has a hard time, processing these synthetic hormones. What happens is they start to, create a buildup in the system, in the body, and you start to see growth in the ovaries, in the woman, uterus, okay? So when a woman has PCOS, she has an imbalance in the hormones, okay? When you're getting synthetic hormones that are coming in, it disrupts everything in your reproductive system. And so that's why you have an imbalance of hormone, hormonal imbalance. And so that's what that is. I'm trying to be as simple as I can.
What are some of the signs outwardly? Because obviously a sister won't know what's going on inside first. What are some of the outward signs maybe that a sister could know that she might be at risk for PCOS?
Okay, if you are having irregular menstrual period, if you're having menstrual period that lasts for weeks, like if you're having a period that is just going on for a month or two, I have a family member who was suffering from that, okay? She no longer, I just spoke to her a few days ago, and she took my advice and took some of these herbs here, and she no longer is going through some of those symptoms. But you'll see a lot of bleeding. You'll see bleeding long term, meaning not your normal menstrual cycle. You're just bleeding nonstop. A lot of pain. And also, even if you're not bleeding, for a long period of time, you will have sometimes the symptom is really, really painful period where your stomach just hurt nonstop. Also, some of the more visible symptoms is, I don't know if sometimes you see women walking around with facial hair, a lot of hair on their body, like hair, on their chin or, on their faces. That is an imbalance of hormone. The hormones are disrupted in the body. Okay, a lot of women unfortunately don't understand these things. So the herbs that I have in front of me are herbs that balance the hormones, okay? Some of these herbs shrink tumors if you have any growth going on in your uterus from PCOS. A lot of these herbs are good for shrinking those tumors and growth going on. So I'm just going to go down the line and explain just briefly each of these herbs and what they do. All right, we're going to start with, okay, what I have in this little, if you could see it right there, that little plate right there, that is chaste tree berries, right? That is that's your main herb, pretty much. That's the first herb that you should be taking is chaste tree berries. That is the herb that is going to balance back your hormone, okay? Because your hormones are out of whack. That's pretty much what's going on with you. If you are suffering from PCOS or any type of cyst, your hormones are out of whack. So chaste tree berries, what it does is balances your hormone, okay? That's what that does. Romania root, right here. And the reason you don't see, some of these bags doesn't have any herbs in them because I took some of the herbs and I put them in this bowl here. But that's Romania root, okay? And what that does is it helps with your menstrual cycle. If you have irregular menstrual cycle, it it helps with that. It helps to balance back your cycle. It balances the hormones. Okay, and it's also good for women who are going through menopause as well, and it's good for the urinary tract. Okay, so that's a very, very, very important herb there. And as I said, for women who's going through menopause, hot flashes, the symptoms. I'm not going through menopause, but I've heard of it, and it's horrible. The other herb I have here is red raspberry leaves. That also balance the reproductive system, and it strengthens the uterus. Okay. As you can see, I take all of these herbs. I don't have PCOS, but I'm not trying to get it. Okay, which is why I take these things. I cannot explain enough. I don't wait to get into situations with illnesses. I try to prevent them. Okay, so although I don't have PCOS, as you can see, I have all these herbs that I do take, okay? The herb here is called shepherd's purse, okay? And what that does is it stops excessive bleeding, okay? So for women who are bleeding a lot during their menstrual cycle, that's what that does is it stops excessive bleeding, and it also is a anti-tumor herb. It shrinks fibroid tumors. So if you have fibroid tumor in your uterus, that's what that does. It helps to shrink those tumors. Dang quai, some people call it dang kui, potato. And what dang quai do is it balances your hormones as well, just like the chaste tree berries, okay? And it is good for circulation. It's good for circulation, okay? Because you need circulation. When you have PCOS, you are also suffering from a lack of circulation in your uterus, okay? That's a problem. So this helps to get the blood flowing, okay? It also gets rid of excessive estrogen in the body, okay? Which is what's causing your situation. And it also it's an anti-tumor herb as well. It helps to shrink any type of growth that's going on in your ovaries, because talking about circulation, when you don't have circulation going on, again, it means that there is a state of stagnant. Your blood is stagnant. So you need to keep the blood flowing, and what some of these herbs do is because when the blood is not flowing, it means that you're going to get a growth, right? That's what's going to happen. When something is not flowing properly, growth is going to start to happen. That's how that works. Red clover. That is also, just like the dang quai, also an anti-tumor herb as well. and so it helps to shrink tumors. It has shrinking abilities. It helps to shrink growth and tumors in the uterus. Okay. And the last herb that I have here is motherwort. I say every woman should take this herb. Okay. I mean, it's called motherwort for a reason. Okay. This is a mother right here. This helps with a lot of things, but since we're talking about PCOS, this helps a woman who is going through menopause as well. Okay, all the symptoms of menopause. This help with hot flashes, trouble sleeping, fatigue, and all the other things that people suffer from when they're going through menopause, and also help with circulation as well. All right.
So, really quickly before you go any further, you had mentioned it before. I didn't get a chance to show it.
Mm-hmm.
All those things are mixed together here in that bowl. Okay. So now, are you making like a tea with all these particular herbs in them, or how are you basically taking that?
Yeah. So, if you notice, a lot of these bags are empty. That's because I took the herbs out of them and I dumped them in this one thing here. Because I'm combining them to get. I think I have herbs in this bag here, and probably a couple of those. And I combine them because that's how you have to take these. You cannot take them just one herb at a time. They have to. All these things has to be combined, which is why I put them in here. And you are going to take them as a tea. Yes. Also, you could take them as a tincture. I think the tea is a bit more effective. You can take the herb as a tincture, and a tincture is the herb in a liquid form. It's where you extract the juices from the plant. So those are tinctures. I prefer to take the herbs in tea, okay? And these herbs are to be taken 3 times a day. If you are suffering from any type of, growth or PCOS, any type of menstrual problem, you should be very consistent in taking these herbs. I'm going to go over, I think I have some things in the front there. I have ginger. I cannot explain enough how important it is to take ginger. I cannot explain enough how important it is for you to have good circulation, right? Ginger is an herb for circulation. And it's not just to be taken if you're having a PCOS issue or menstrual issue. Everybody should take ginger. Man and woman. Boy and girl. Everybody should. If you have blood running through your body, flowing through your body, you should be taking you should be taking ginger. Ginger is good for your heart, your liver, your reproductive system. Everything pretty much, skin, everything. But we're on the subject of circulation as it relates to the, women's uterus and PCOS. What ginger does is get the blood flowing in the uterus, okay? Because that's one of the problems why you're having menstrual issues is because your blood is stagnant. So you need the ginger to keep the blood flowing freely, okay? And that's pretty much what the nutmeg and the ginger, the cinnamon does as well. Those are antiviral herb, and they're also good for circulation. So all these herbs are very important when they're used together. All right, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, those spices are very important as well for circulation. And I also have, I believe I have magnesium there. Magnesium is very good if you have, again, very heavy bleeding on your monthly cycle, okay? I suggested this to a sister, and I followed up with her a few days ago, and she mentioned that she was not bleeding as bad as she was. The bleeding, all that bleeding has stopped. The pain, it helps with pain. If you're going through a lot of pain in your menstrual cycle, magnesium a lot of bleeding and a lot of pain, that will get rid of your pain. And she did say that she's not going through any more pain. Also, supplement. You know, that's B vitamin. I take my supplement in liquid form because the body absorbs the liquid better than you know, those pills. So that is liquid B vitamin complex, okay, and that also that also is very good for use, you know, when you're having issue in your uterus, okay. So that I think I pretty much cover all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. So
good. So
I have a question, because you know we will be doing this ad nauseum, and I know people will get tired of hearing it, but they just have to get tired of hearing it. Herbs are nothing if your diet is bad. So we have to remind the people every day some of the reasons why someone would even probably become, you know, ill with PCOS. It might be part of the reason is because they have a bad diet. So I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Is a big part of this. If you decide to start taking these herbs, right? You cannot take these herbs and continue to eat garbage. When I say garbage, I mean if you're eating cheese and milk and getting up in the morning and eating, you know, a big McDonald's burger, or even if you're frying some eggs and bacon and this and that,
turkey bacon,
all of that, it doesn't matter what kind of bacon.
Yeah,
those are not food that these herbs are not going to do anything for you. I'm going to say to you right now, if you think that you're going to take these herbs, right, and continue to eat all that garbage, you're not going to feel any better. I'm sorry. Okay, just like, you know, when the doctor gives you a pill and says, okay, you can't have grapefruit juice with this pill because it won't work. It just, you know, have some type of adverse effect. It's the same thing with these herbs. These herbs work when you're on an alkaline, when your body is in an alkaline state. This is how these herbs work. That's how they work. If your body is if you continue to feed your body toxic food and take herbs, they just won't work. So cut out the you know, even the meat. Like have, you know, even once or twice a week. You don't have to have meat every single day, morning, noon, and night. Meat, you know, bacon in the morning, meat for lunch, meat for dinner, a little meat for supper. You're not going to get better like that. I'm sorry, you know. Cut out some of the meat. Cut out most of the meat. Cut out the dairy, the milk, the cheese, the yogurt, the coleslaw, or the, you know, all that, I don't know what they
macaroni salad
and all that stuff. Cut all that out. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to, if you're suffering from any of these things, you know, just being like, oh, I don't know, what am I gonna eat? There are plenty of food to eat. Food that grows on a tree. Okay? Mosai gave us food from the tree. We need to go back to that. Food that you can get from a tree is what you should be eating, what you should be putting in your stomach, and is what is going to get the body back to an alkaline state, because your body is sick because it's toxic, filled with acid and a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay? So I can't say that enough. Just, you know, eat healthy. Try to eat as healthy as you possibly can. Drink lots of water. That's another thing. And a lot of liquid. A lot of food with liquid. Okay? I'm sorry, you had a question?
No, I was saying that let the people know, you know, where they can find you, because this information, you're constantly talking about this on social media. So let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Healthy Hebrew on Facebook, where I discuss all day, every day, herbs. It's what I talk about. Herbs and your health, okay? That's what I talk about on that on the Healthy Hebrew page. You're free to send a request, join the page, and you know, if you have any question about herbs and how to take these herbs, just pose your question and we'll try to answer them.
Yeah, now if you're sending a friend request, by the way, Healthy Hebrews is on Facebook. If you're sending a friend request, if you don't have a picture, we're not going to accept the friend request. I'll let you know now.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's the criteria. We started to check the page of who we're letting in, because we let a lot of people in indiscriminately, and they weren't in there for the right reasons. Like a lot of Israelites, the health is the last thing that you want to talk about. You want to talk about everything else, but this is also extremely important. So we want to keep that room dealing with health. We don't need no doctrines in there. We don't need no debates in there. None of that stuff. There's plenty of other places. You have all the YouTube pages to do that. You have all the different Facebook groups to do that. But we have to focus on our health because it's extremely important. So again, the Healthy Hebrews page. With that, Sister Malika, do you have anything else you wanted to discuss before we close out?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think I explained how to make the tea, right? The tea is not really difficult to make. You just if you have a small pot at home or a kettle, you put it on the stove. You put a cup of water in the pot, and you take a tablespoon of herb. And when the water is boiling, you pour that in there. You let it boil for about a minute, and then you turn the stove off, take the pot off, and let it sit for at least 3 minutes or so, and then you drink it. I don't suggest sweetening your, putting any type of sweetener in the herb, because you're really defeating the purpose by just throwing sugar in there.
Yeah.
Just drink the herb straight up. You're trying to get rid of a problem. You don't want to add more problem to it, which is, sugar. So don't put any sugar or milk. You shouldn't be having milk in the first place, especially while you're taking these herbs. You should not be having dairy while taking these herbs. Yeah, and I suggest if you're taking these herbs specifically for PCOS, you should first do a cleanse. First, it's the first thing you need to do if you're going to be on these herbs. Take a cleanse and eliminate meat, processed food. Stay on a alkaline diet while you're using these herbs. So that's what I have to say, and with that I say shalom.